Durston Gear just released the X-Dome 1 Plus, which should be the lightest freestanding double wall tent that you can get. So the first thing I like about this tent is just how lightweight this is. Like you would expect, you look at the specs on the website, you see that it's over 2 pounds and you're like, holy crap, this thing's gonna be so heavy compared to something like the Plex Solo. But honestly, it's not all that heavy. I'm somebody that hates using hiking poles. I always carry around a pole for the ultralight shelter anyway, so it's not that much heavier than what I'm used to using already. And this, I'm telling you team, if you hold this in your hand, you will be shocked at just how light it is and how small it can be packed down. I also don't hate the price. Yes, I wouldn't say over $300 is cheap, but when you start getting into high-end backpacking tents, I would say this is reasonably priced compared to the competition, but it doesn't do much good in the bag. Let's go set it up. Okay, so what do I like and dislike about the X-Dome 1 Plus? Well, we can't decide that until we set it up. Now, normally I set this up and then I talk to you about the things that I like and I dislike. But one of the major things about this tent is its unique pitching capability. I like it in that once you understand how to set it up, this gives you so much protection from the elements. But something that I don't like is the first time you set this tent up, this will be one of the most frustrating things you've ever done. Now that I've done it a few times, it's not as bad, but that first time, whew, I was hot. Normally everybody says, oh, make sure you test out your equipment before you take it out of the backcountry, blah, blah, blah. And then we all are like, no, I got my brand new thing. I'll just figure it out when I'm out there. Set this up a couple of times first, because the first time, I'm warning you. Okay, boom, did you see? That was super simple to set up after I had a time in it. So this is just the fly. You can set the fly up like wholly independent from the inner part of the tent, and that's how I plan on using this. Is I like to keep my inner and my outer separate, because if this gets wet, it gets condensation on it, it rains or something like that, then I can store this as I'm hiking somewhere else in a different part of my bag, and I don't have to worry about the inner getting wet. And look at this. Look at how much space is in here. This is nuts. Like without the inner, this is a gigantic tent. I also like the big vents for condensation. You get one on each side. I'm showing you this now because it's going to be a little more difficult when the inner is set up, but you got these two big vents for condensation. You have these right here for trekking poles to give you a little bit more stability if you need a stronger tent. Even this by itself, I really, really like this. If you don't need the inner because you're not in bug territory, that's probably all you need. Boom, and that's the entirety of the tent setup, the inner and the outer. So the next thing that I really like about this tent, look at this. You hear me talk about vestibule space a lot. This vestibule is huge. Yes, it's called the 1 Plus, right? You're supposed to be able to fit one person plus. In here, you can fit so much stuff. I love that about tents. This is a true vestibule because this is a double wall tent, which is not something you generally find in ultralight tents. I really like the space in here too. As we've heard before, I'm 5'6", so me having a lot of space is not really all that impressive, but my feet and my head have plenty of space. I could fit my sleeping pad, all of my stuff in here. You get a few points of hooking things in. I'm not as grumpy about that as I was on like the REI Trailmade tent, because that's a big, heavy, like everybody tent, and this is a lightweight dual wall tent, so I'm not as frustrated about the lack of hooking things in here. One thing I do kind of wish on the inside is I do wish it had a little bit more storage space. You just get this mesh pocket right here. It's nothing to be too grumpy about. I like having, I bring a lot of space. I bring a lot of like little things with me, and the more pockets and the more places I can have to stash those. Another thing I like is this mesh door doesn't fall on the ground. When you unzip it, it's attached to the top, so this will never fall on the ground, get dirt or anything on it. One thing that I do not necessarily love, but I feel like there could be little gaps right here where the three come together. And I'm in tick and mosquito territory, so any gap at all is a big no-no for me. So that's probably the only thing that I really dislike about this tent in my initial impressions of it. But yeah, initial impressions are, I think this is a fantastic tent. I love how it sets up from the outside. I love how the poles are on the outside. I love that you can set it up rain fly first. That's new to me. But let me know in the comments below what you all would like to see out of the X-Dome 1 Plus as I start taking it out on adventure and looking for specific things that you all are curious about. Okay? Thanks for watching.